Introduction: Why small steps lead to big results. Start today. Today we're diving into a concept so simple yet so profound that it has the power to reshape the way you approach your life. It's the power of small steps. You see, most of us dream big. We envision success as this towering, magnificent mountain, something awe-inspiring but, let's be honest, overwhelming. We think success means taking giant leaps, making bold moves, or achieving overnight breakthroughs. But let me tell you something. Success isn't about leaps or bounds. Success is about showing up, day after day, taking those small, consistent actions that no one else is willing to take. Now, why is this so important? Because small steps compound over time. As Tony Robbins says, progress equals happiness. The feeling of forward momentum, no matter how small, is what keeps us alive, energized, and growing. The truth is, big results are nothing more than the accumulation of small, intentional efforts over time. It's like planting seeds. You don't see the fruit on day one, but with patience and care, that seed turns into a mighty oak. Let me ask you this: how many of you have ever been paralyzed by the size of your dreams? Maybe you want to start a business, transform your health, or create deeper relationships. But instead of taking the first step, you freeze. You think, it's too hard, or I don't even know where to begin. Does this sound familiar? If it does, I have good news for you. The antidote to overwhelm is action. Not massive action, just action. Start small. Here's the thing. Small steps do more than just create progress. They create momentum. The moment you take that first step, no matter how tiny, you set the wheels of change in motion. And momentum is a force to be reckoned with. It's what turns the impossible into the inevitable. Think about a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts small, almost insignificant. But as it keeps rolling, it gathers speed and power. That's what small steps do for your life. They create unstoppable momentum. But here's the catch. You've got to start today. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Why? Because waiting breeds fear and hesitation. Starting today, no matter how imperfectly, sends a powerful message to yourself. I am capable. I am in control. And that sense of empowerment? That's priceless. Tony Robbins teaches us that success is not about resources. It's about resourcefulness. It's about using what you have right now, no matter how little, to create a shift. Take that first step and you'll discover that the next step becomes easier. Then the next. And before you know it, you've covered more ground than you ever thought possible. So, my friends, let's commit to the power of small steps. Let's stop waiting for the perfect moment. Let's stop being paralyzed by fear. Instead, let's embrace progress, however small, and take that first step today. Because today, not tomorrow, is where transformation begins. Let's start now and create the future we deserve. Chapter 1: The Power of Momentum. Let me tell you something about momentum. It is the hidden force that can make or break your journey to success. Momentum is life's greatest accelerant. It's the energy that turns a small spark into a roaring blaze, the invisible wind that lifts an airplane off the ground. But here's the truth: you can't have momentum without movement. And movement starts with the tiniest action. Think of it this way. Imagine you're standing at the bottom of a hill, staring at a massive boulder. At first glance, it seems immovable, impossible to budge. That's how most people see their goals: daunting, overwhelming, even paralyzing. But the secret is this: you don't have to move the boulder in one giant push. All you need is to nudge it an inch. That first nudge, no matter how small, is the hardest part. But once the boulder starts rolling, the magic happens. Momentum takes over, and what was once difficult becomes effortless. Tony Robbins often reminds us that the path to success is to take massive, determined action. But that action doesn't have to be monumental at the start. The smallest step creates movement, and movement ignites momentum. When you take one step forward, you signal to yourself and the universe, I'm ready. And here's the kicker. When you're in motion, the next step becomes easier. Then the next. And before you know it, you're not just pushing the boulder, you're riding it downhill at full speed. Let's look at the science behind it. Momentum, in physics, is the product of mass and velocity. What does that mean for your life? It means the more consistent your actions, the more unstoppable you become. Every small step adds mass to your efforts, and every bit of speed you gain amplifies your results. The equation is simple. Consistent action over time equals unstoppable momentum. But here's where most people trip up. They wait for motivation to get started. Motivation is fleeting, it's unreliable. Momentum, however, is self-sustaining. When you take action even when you don't feel like it, you create the energy to keep going. Action creates emotion, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel inspired to act. You act to feel inspired. Think about a train sitting idle on the tracks. It takes immense energy to get it moving even an inch. But once that train picks up speed, it can smash through obstacles without losing momentum. That's what happens when you commit to small, consistent actions. You become the unstoppable force, breaking through barriers that once seemed insurmountable. So what's your boulder? What's the first inch you can move today? Don't overthink it. Don't wait for perfect conditions. Take the smallest step you can. Make the call, write the first line, lace up your running shoes. Because the moment you move, momentum takes over and you become a force of nature. That's the power of momentum. Once it starts, it doesn't stop until you reach your destination. Chapter 2: Building the Habit Muscle. Habits are the foundation of our lives. Every day, whether you realize it or not, you're reinforcing certain behaviors, building the structure of who you are. The question is, are you consciously creating habits that empower you, or are you allowing destructive patterns to shape your future? As Tony Robbins says, it's in your moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. And the decision to build strong, empowering habits is one of the most important you'll ever make. Think of your habits as a muscle. When you go to the gym, you don't expect to lift heavy weights on your first day. You start small, gradually increasing your strength over time. The same principle applies to habits. When you commit to small, daily actions, like writing for 5 minutes, meditating, or drinking a glass of water in the morning, you're not just creating routines, you're training your discipline. And discipline, my friends, is the ultimate muscle for success. Here's why this works. Small habits, repeated consistently, compound over time. At first, you might not see the impact. But just like compound interest in finance, those small investments grow exponentially. 1% better each day doesn't seem like much, but over the course of a year, it can lead to a 37% improvement. Imagine how your life could transform if you applied that principle to your health, career, or relationships. The beauty of habits is that they operate on autopilot. Once a habit is ingrained, you no longer have to rely on willpower to take action. It becomes automatic. And this is critical because willpower is finite. By building habits, you reserve your mental energy for the decisions that truly matter, while your positive routines carry you forward effortlessly. But let's address the elephant in the room. Building habits isn't always easy. The key is to start small, so small it feels almost too easy. Want to start meditating? Begin with just 1 minute a day. Want to write a book? Commit to writing 1 sentence. These micro habits may seem insignificant, but they build confidence. Every time you follow through, you're sending a powerful message to yourself. I can do this. And that belief is what fuels growth. Here's another insight. Habits aren't just about actions. They're about identity. When you say, I'm someone who exercises daily, or I'm a writer, you're shaping your self-image. And we all act consistently with who we believe we are. So, the more you reinforce your habits, the stronger your identity becomes. Think of great achievers, whether it's athletes, artists, or entrepreneurs. What sets them apart isn't talent alone, it's their habits. Michael Jordan didn't become the greatest basketball player by practicing occasionally. He built his skills through relentless, daily effort. The same is true for you. Your habits will determine the trajectory of your life. So, what habit can you start building today? Remember, it doesn't have to be monumental. Start small. Stay consistent. And watch as these tiny actions create extraordinary changes in your life. Because when you build the habit muscle, you build the foundation for greatness. Let's get started. Chapter 3. Overcoming Overwhelm. Let's be real, big goals can feel overwhelming. You've got this vision, this incredible dream, and it excites you, but at the same time, it paralyzes you. You start asking yourself, where do I even begin? That's when procrastination sneaks in. You get stuck, spinning your wheels, feeling like no matter what you do, it's not enough. Sound familiar? Don't worry, you're not alone. Even the most successful people in the world face overwhelm. The difference is they've learned how to break free. And you can too. Here's the truth. Overwhelm isn't about having too much to do. It's about not knowing where to start. Your brain looks at this massive goal like a mountain and it says, I can't climb that. But here's the secret. You don't climb the mountain all at once. You climb it one step at a time. As Tony Robbins often says, chunk it down. When you break your big goals into bite-sized, manageable steps, you transform the impossible into the inevitable. Think about this. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It's the same with your goals. Instead of focusing on the entire project, focus on the next small action you can take. Maybe it's sending one email, writing one paragraph, or making one phone call. These tiny steps create progress, and progress creates confidence. And confidence? That's your antidote to overwhelm. Here's an exercise Tony Robbins often recommends. Write down your big goal at the top of the page. Then, underneath, list every single step you can think of, big or small, that will move you closer to it. Don't worry about the order right now, just get it all out. Once you've got your list, circle the one step you can take today. That's your focus. Forget about the rest for now. Just take that one action. By narrowing your focus, you eliminate the chaos in your mind and replace it with clarity. Now let's talk about fear, because overwhelm is often a mask for fear. Fear of failure. Fear of rejection. Fear of not being enough. But here's the thing. Fear loses its power when you take action. Even the smallest step forward shifts your focus from fear to progress. Remember, action is the cure for overwhelm. Let me give you a real-world example. Imagine you're building a house. If you focus on the whole house, every wall, window, and nail, it feels impossible. But if you focus on laying just one brick, it becomes doable. And when you lay that brick, you feel accomplished. That sense of progress motivates you to lay another. Before you know it, you've built the foundation. That's the power of breaking it down. So, when you feel overwhelmed, don't freeze. Don't procrastinate. Chunk it down. Focus on the next step, not the whole staircase. Because every step you take, no matter how small, moves you closer to your goal. And once you're in motion, you'll realize you're capable of far more than you ever imagined. Let's crush overwhelm and start climbing that mountain one step at a time. Let's do this. Chapter 4. The Psychology of Achievement. Let me tell you something powerful. The psychology of achievement is not just about setting goals or working hard, it's about how your brain responds to progress. Achievement isn't just a result, it's a process. And when you learn how to leverage small wins, you rewire your brain for long-term success. As Tony Robbins says, it's not what we get that makes us happy, it's who we become. Every step forward, no matter how small, shapes the person you're becoming and brings you closer to your ultimate destiny. Let's start with the science. Every time you achieve something, even something as small as checking an item off your to-do list, your brain releases dopamine. This is the feel-good chemical that fuels your motivation and reinforces the belief that you're capable. It's your brain's way of saying, well done. Let's do that again. And here's the kicker. The more you experience this, the more you train your brain to seek achievement. You're literally rewiring yourself for success. But why does this matter? Because too often people dismiss small wins. They think, what's the point of celebrating something so minor? I have so far to go. That mindset is a trap. Small wins are proof that you're on the right path. They're the breadcrumbs that lead you to the bigger victories. If you don't stop to acknowledge and celebrate these moments, you rob yourself of the energy and momentum needed to keep going. Think about this. When you climb a mountain, you don't wait until you reach the summit to appreciate the view. You pause along the way to catch your breath and admire how far you've come. Those moments of recognition fuel your determination to keep climbing. The same is true in life. Celebrating small wins isn't about complacency, it's about building confidence. Every win, no matter how small, is evidence that you're capable of achieving more. Now let's talk about beliefs. Your brain operates on patterns and stories. If you tell yourself, "I can't do this," your brain will find evidence to support that belief. But when you achieve a small win, you create a new story. "I can do this. Look at what I just accomplished." Over time, these new stories become your default mindset, shaping your identity as someone who succeeds. Let me give you an example. Imagine you want to run a marathon. If you focus solely on running 26.2 miles, it feels overwhelming. But if you start by running just 1 mile and celebrate that victory, your brain gets the message, "I'm a runner. I can do this." The next day you push for 2 miles. Then 3. Each small win builds your confidence and rewires your identity. Before you know it, you're crossing the finish line. Here's the challenge. What small win can you celebrate today? It could be as simple as making your bed, completing a workout, or sending that email you've been avoiding. Whatever it is, pause and acknowledge it. Feel the rush of dopamine, the sense of pride. Let it fuel your next step. Success is built on momentum, and momentum starts with small wins. When you learn to celebrate these victories, you're not just achieving goals, you're transforming your mindset. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't just dream big but achieves big. Let's commit to celebrating progress, one step at a time. Because every small win is proof that you're capable of greatness. Let's go make it happen. Chapter 5. Turning Dreams into Actions. Listen to me closely. Every single great achievement in history, no matter how massive or seemingly unattainable, started with one simple action. Dreams are powerful, but without action they remain just that, dreams. As Tony Robbins often says, the only limit to your impact is your imagination and commitment. You see, writing down your goals is vital. It clarifies your vision and sets the stage for success. But it's the actions you take that transform those goals into reality. Without action, your dreams are just ideas floating around in your mind. But with action, those ideas become tangible, real-world accomplishments. Let me tell you something that might surprise you. Most people don't fail because they don't have big dreams. They fail because they don't take decisive, consistent action. They get stuck in the planning phase, thinking that if they just think harder or talk about their dreams long enough, something will magically happen. But success doesn't come to those who dream. It comes to those who do. The first step is always to write down your goals. When you commit your desires to paper, you create clarity and focus. But here's where the magic happens. When you turn those dreams into specific, actionable tasks. That's when you stop being a dreamer and start becoming a doer. Breaking down your goals into daily, manageable steps is the key to transforming dreams into reality. When Tony Robbins teaches about creating change, he emphasizes the importance of momentum. Small steps taken every day consistently will accumulate and lead you to where you want to go. You don't need to figure out everything at once. You just need to take that next small action. Whether it's making one phone call, writing one paragraph, or taking one step toward your goal, that's all it takes to get started. But don't stop there. Once you've broken your big goals into manageable tasks, set deadlines. Commit to achieving each task by a certain time. A goal without a deadline is just a wish. And a wish, my friends, doesn't get you anywhere. Deadlines force you to move, to make decisions, to act. They give you urgency and purpose. It's the urgency that propels you forward, preventing procrastination and inertia from creeping in. But here's the real secret: decisive action. Don't overthink. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Take the next step now and let momentum carry you forward. You'll never feel ready to do the things you're dreaming of. Success is not about waiting for the perfect conditions. It's about making the most of the conditions you have and moving forward anyway. So let's put this into practice. What is the first action you can take right now that moves you closer to your dream? Maybe it's a small step, like reaching out to someone for advice or setting aside time to work on your project. Whatever it is, take it. Now, you don't need to wait for motivation or inspiration to strike. Action creates energy. You will never feel more confident than when you're moving toward your goals. Remember, dreams are the seeds, and action is the water that makes them grow. Take action today, and before you know it, your dreams will be thriving in the real world. Let's turn those visions into reality. Chapter 6. Embracing consistency over perfection. Let me share something profound with you. Consistency is the secret to success. Perfection? It's an illusion. It's a trap that keeps people stuck, constantly waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect time to act. But as Tony Robbins teaches, consistency beats perfection every time. You see, perfection isn't what leads to achievement. It's the daily commitment, the willingness to show up day after day, that will carry you to the top. Think about it. How often have you hesitated to take action because you felt like it wasn't going to be perfect? Maybe you thought your presentation wasn't polished enough or your business idea wasn't refined enough to launch. Guess what? Perfection never arrives. The truth is, no matter how good you get, there's always room for improvement. Success doesn't come from doing everything perfectly, it comes from doing it, again and again, relentlessly. The key is showing up even on the days when you don't feel like it. Success isn't linear, it's messy. There are ups and downs, victories and setbacks, but the difference between those who succeed and those who fall short is persistence. It's about getting back up after a failure, learning from it, and continuing forward. Each time you do that, you build resilience, and with resilience comes mastery. Over time, consistency compounds. Small actions repeated daily will give you exponential growth, way more than a single perfect action ever could. This concept of embracing imperfection is fundamental. When you focus on being consistent rather than perfect, you free yourself from the shackles of fear. Fear of failure. Fear of making mistakes. You allow yourself the grace to be human, to be a work in progress. But what's incredible is that progress itself, no matter how messy, is what leads to results. Let me remind you of something Tony Robbins often emphasizes. The quality of your life is in direct proportion to the amount of uncertainty you can comfortably deal with. That uncertainty comes from not knowing exactly how things will turn out, but showing up anyway. It's about not waiting for everything to be perfectly aligned but taking that imperfect step and learning along the way. The more you do this, the more confidence you build. And when you build confidence, you take bolder actions, which accelerates your results. So let's make this practical. What is one thing you can do every day to move toward your goal, even if it's not perfect? Maybe it's writing 300 words a day, taking a 10-minute walk, or making one sales call. The key is consistency. When you show up every day, even when you don't feel like it, you'll realize that your imperfect actions are getting you closer to your dreams than sitting around waiting for perfection ever would. You don't have to be perfect, but you have to be persistent. You don't have to have all the answers, but you must keep taking steps. Success comes from the daily habit of pushing forward, not from waiting for the perfect opportunity. The more consistent you are, the more you turn action into momentum. And once you have momentum, there's nothing stopping you. So, stop waiting for things to be perfect. Show up every day. Make progress, not perfection. The results will follow. Keep going, because success isn't about being perfect. It's about being persistent. Chapter 7. The Compounding Effect. Let me tell you something powerful. Small actions repeated consistently create an unstoppable force. That's the compounding effect in action. It's the magic that turns ordinary efforts into extraordinary results. In the beginning, those small steps may seem insignificant. You may think, what's the point of reading one page a day? What's a single dollar invested going to do? But I'm here to tell you, you're wrong. Because over time, these tiny actions compound, and the results are far greater than the sum of their parts. Tony Robbins teaches us that small actions done consistently lead to massive results. Think about it, if you invest just $1 a day, it doesn't seem like much. But when you add that up over time with compound interest, that dollar grows into something far more powerful. The same applies to your habits. If you commit to reading just one page of a book every day, you'll read 365 pages a year. One page doesn't seem like much, but over time it builds knowledge, skills, and perspective. And guess what? That knowledge compounds too. Each page you read adds to the foundation of your success. Here's where it gets truly fascinating: the power of small, consistent improvements. If you can make just a 1% improvement every day, imagine where you'll be in a year. It might not feel like much in the moment, but after 365 days, you'll have improved by over 37%. That's the magic of compounding. Whether you're talking about your physical health, your finances, your skills, or your mindset, those small daily efforts add up to massive transformation. Think of it like this. Imagine you're walking up a staircase one step at a time. At first it may feel like you're barely moving. But each step takes you higher and higher, and before you know it, you've reached a level you never thought possible. It's the same with personal growth. The key is to keep going even when it feels like those small actions aren't making a difference. The power of the compounding effect is most noticeable when you look back and realize how far you've come. Here's a practical example. Let's say you decide to take a 10-minute walk every day. It may not seem like much, but in a year that's 3,650 minutes of movement, which adds up to over 60 hours of walking. What's the result? You're fitter, healthier, and more energized. You've created a habit that compounds and feeds into other positive habits, like better sleep, improved mood, and increased productivity. But here's the truth: the compounding effect is not just about results. It's about momentum. When you start seeing those small wins, they inspire you to keep going. You start believing that progress is possible, and that belief fuels even more action. This creates a virtuous cycle of improvement. So, what's the next small step you can take today? Maybe it's drinking a glass of water, sending one email, or writing a single sentence. Don't underestimate the power of that small action. Because over time, that one sentence becomes a chapter, that chapter becomes a book, and that book can change your life. The key is simple. Don't focus on perfection or instant results. Focus on the process. Trust in the power of the compounding effect, and keep making those small positive steps every day. Over time, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. Remember, success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. Let's make today the first step of a year-long transformation. Chapter 8: The Ripple Effect of Change. Let me share something profound with you today. Your small steps don't just affect you, they create ripples that spread out into the world. Every positive change you make doesn't just impact your own life. It has the potential to inspire and influence those around you, your relationships, your career, your community, and even the world at large. This is the power of the ripple effect. When you take a small step forward, something incredible happens. You're not just moving yourself toward your goals. You're creating energy, momentum, and influence that spills over into other areas of your life. Think about it. When you commit to becoming a better version of yourself, whether it's through small habits like waking up earlier, exercising, or reading more, you start to see changes not only in your own life but also in the lives of those around you. Your actions, however small, become an example for others. And as Tony Robbins often says, the quality of your life is the quality of your relationships. As you improve yourself, you begin to elevate the lives of those you interact with, creating a cycle of growth that keeps building. One of the most profound things Tony Robbins teaches is that success leaves clues. When you take positive actions, whether they're tiny shifts or massive strides, you become a walking example of what's possible. That's how the ripple effect works. The people around you see you making changes, and they begin to believe that change is possible for them too. They begin to think, if they can do it, maybe I can too. This is how small steps multiply, One person's action can spark an entire movement. Imagine you decide to adopt healthier habits, like eating better or exercising daily. You're doing this for yourself, but the impact doesn't stop there. Maybe your spouse sees you getting up earlier to work out and feels motivated to join you. Your colleague notices your newfound energy and asks you what's changed, which leads to them making healthier choices in their own life. Your children see you taking care of yourself and learn that self-care is a value to live by. These are ripples. Small, consistent actions don't just change you, they inspire others to change too. Now, let's talk about how these ripples extend beyond personal relationships. In your career, when you consistently show up with focus, energy, and a positive attitude, you set a standard for those around you. Your work ethic becomes contagious, your drive inspires collaboration, and your positivity creates an environment where others want to excel. Suddenly, your small effort to improve yourself has become a driving force in elevating an entire team or organization. But the ripple effect doesn't stop at your inner circle. It reaches farther than you can imagine. Think about the communities you're a part of. When you take a stand for positive change in your own life, you set an example for those around you. Your actions can spark movements, whether it's advocating for sustainability, promoting kindness, or pushing for social justice. Your small steps are not isolated. They have the potential to ignite a collective energy that creates larger societal shifts. The key is understanding that everything you do, no matter how small, has a ripple effect. One kind word, one positive action, one small step toward your dream can have a lasting impact far beyond what you see in the moment. The changes you make in your life don't just benefit you, they create a chain reaction of positive influence that extends outward. And that is the true power of personal growth. So, as you take your small steps each day, remember this: you are not just changing your life, you are changing the lives of everyone you touch. Your efforts are multiplying, creating ripples of transformation that will go on far beyond what you can even imagine. Keep moving forward, because your change is the catalyst for the world around you. Chapter 9. Learning from setbacks. Let me tell you this: setbacks are not the end of your journey, they are part of your journey. The road to success is not a straight path, it's filled with twists, turns, and obstacles. But as Tony Robbins always says, the only thing that's holding you back is the story you tell yourself. Setbacks are not signs of failure, they are opportunities to learn, grow, and recalibrate. The truth is, you're going to face challenges. That's inevitable. What matters is how you respond to those challenges. Think about this: small steps aren't about avoiding failure. They're about embracing it. They're about understanding that every time things don't go as planned, it's not the end. It's just a chance to learn and get better. The key to growth isn't about avoiding mistakes. It's about how you handle them when they arise. You can either let a setback stop you, or you can choose to use it as fuel to move forward. And I can tell you from experience, the most successful people in the world didn't get there by avoiding failure, they got there by learning from it. Tony Robbins talks about something incredibly powerful: resilience. Resilience is the ability to keep going even when things don't work out as planned. It's about bouncing back from setbacks, recalibrating, and coming back stronger. You see, resilience isn't something you're born with, it's something you develop. It's the result of choosing to keep moving forward, even when you feel like giving up. It's in those moments of adversity that your true strength is revealed. Here's the thing: each setback, each failure, is a lesson in disguise. When you face a challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? Instead of thinking, why is this happening to me? Ask yourself, what's the lesson here? You see, it's not the failure that defines you, it's how you respond to it. Every setback is an opportunity to become more resilient, more resourceful, and more determined. And each time you bounce back, you're building the strength needed to take on even bigger challenges. But here's a powerful reminder: resilience isn't about being invincible. It's about being able to feel the pain of failure, process it, and move forward anyway. It's about taking one small step after another, even when you're unsure of the outcome. It's about committing to the process, not the result, and trusting that every small action you take will eventually lead to success. I want you to remember this. The path to greatness is filled with setbacks, but setbacks don't define you. It's what you do after the setback that matters. When you get knocked down, get back up. When you face adversity, rise to the challenge. When things don't go as planned, recalibrate and move forward. The more you do this, the stronger you become. And over time, you'll realize that setbacks were never obstacles. They were stepping stones. So keep moving forward. Don't let setbacks derail you. Embrace them. Learn from them. And use them as the fuel to keep going. Every small step forward is a step toward the life you're meant to live. And no setback can take that away from you. Keep moving. You've got this. Chapter 10. Start today, shape tomorrow. Let me hit you with a truth bomb. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. You know what holds most people back from achieving their dreams? The belief that they need to wait for the perfect moment, the perfect conditions, or the perfect plan. But here's the reality: perfection never comes. You will never have all the answers, you'll never feel fully ready, and the timing will never be just right. So what are you waiting for? Stop waiting for the stars to align, for the clouds to part, and for the universe to give you a sign. The perfect moment is now, and the key to your success is taking that first step today. Tony Robbins often says, the path to success is to take massive, determined action. But here's the catch: you don't need to take massive action all at once. You just need to take one step. That's it. You don't need to see the entire staircase to take the first step, and that first step is the one that gets you moving. Don't wait for motivation to hit you like a lightning bolt. Don't wait for the right time. Take one small action today, no matter how insignificant it may seem, and you'll be one step closer to your goal. The reason people delay is because they think they need to see the entire journey before starting. They think they need to know exactly how things will unfold. But that's not how success works. Success is not a straight line. It's not about having all the answers up front. It's about taking one step forward, trusting the process, and letting the path reveal itself along the way. Tony Robbins says that progress equals happiness, and the moment you begin to make progress, no matter how small, that's when you start experiencing the joy of forward motion. And here's the secret. The first step is the hardest, but once you take it, you start to build momentum. It doesn't matter if you don't have the whole plan figured out. Just take one step and trust that as you move forward, the next steps will become clearer. Here's a powerful example. You've been thinking about getting fit, but you're waiting for the perfect time to start. Maybe you think you need to join a fancy gym or hire a trainer. But what if, instead of waiting for everything to fall into place, you just put on your sneakers and go for a 10-minute walk today? That's one step. It's not about doing everything perfectly, it's about starting. Once you take that first step, you'll build momentum, and that 10-minute walk will turn into 20 minutes, then 30, and before you know it, you're in the best shape of your life. Or maybe you've been thinking about writing a book, but you keep telling yourself, I need to plan it all out first. Forget that. The first step might be as simple as writing a single paragraph today. That's it. Tomorrow you'll write a little more, and before you know it, your book starts to take shape. Success doesn't come from waiting for the perfect plan. It comes from taking action and adjusting along the way. Remember, you don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. In fact, you'll never see the entire staircase until you start climbing. The key is to start. You don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need to commit to taking one step today. That's where transformation begins. You'll be amazed at how far you can go if you just start moving today. So what are you waiting for? Take one step now. You'll thank yourself later.